Hello, hello. Happy New Year, everyone. How y'all doing? Hello, Angel. Hello, Sean. Hello, Angel. Hello, Sean. How's everything going today? I'm excited to be back. Happy New Year. Went on a nice little vacation. Hey, Margaret. Had a wonderful conversation with you today. Hey, Joel. How are you, Joel? Hope everything is going all right over there. Make sure you're safe. Hello, Salam. How are you? How's everything? Listen, before we get started, I'm just gonna get rid of the bad news right away. I'm gonna peel the Band-Aid off. But I'd like everyone to extend out some prayers, and I would like to do a moment of silence. Someone in the community has passed away. I'm not going to mention any names, but they are a current Tier 3 client of mine. Gentleman lost his wife recently, and I would like for all of us to take a moment of silence and pray that God gives him the strength to move forward and continue on and be there for his kids. He's got 4 kids. And I just pray that he gains the strength needed in this hard times. I have no idea what it feels like to lose something of just someone so close to you like that. So, I simply just want to get this whole community to say, hey, we're here for you. We love you. Want to pray for you. Okay? And make sure that your plans, nothing gets delayed. Matter of fact, more blessings. You prosper this year, and you just continue to move forward and really cherish that person and be able to move forward. So let's just all take a moment of silence and just bow your heads. Just extend prayer, supernatural blessings, and are going to this gentleman, okay? Thank you, Father. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Holy Spirit. All right. Now, on with the lesson, which is the first teaching that we're going to do this year, starting it off just right, getting right back into the action. We are serving U.S. Navy today. Got on the board. I got a gentleman that we were, going back and forth as to what is the best velocity banking strategy for this gentleman to be able to apply the concept to wipe out certain debts and acquire the right line of credit. So there's a couple of things I want to tackle, which is making sure that you get the right line of credit. I would hate for you to use your good credit to apply for something, and then you get approved for it, you think it's a line of credit, and it's really not. And it doesn't function the way you want it to function. Okay, we don't want that to happen. So we got to make sure that we are applying for the right thing. And I want to warn you that the banks are not going to exactly help you in any way. They're going to convince you to go a different route. They're going to say, no, that you don't want that. That's no good. get a loan, or, you know, get a this, refinance. Okay, they're gonna, it's all a trick. Okay, and then when you're asking questions, they're gonna confuse you with their responses. So for example, if you say, all right, hello, ABC Bank Credit Union, I'm looking to obtain a line of credit. Do you guys offer that? And they say yes. Yeah, we offer loans. Whoa. Do you guys offer a unsecured line of credit? Just rephrase the question until you get, yes, we offer lines of credit. Cool, you got past that part. Second question. All right, is the line of credit revolving? And is it simple interest? If they say yes and yes, cool. Now, you want to figure out, because they're going to respond back to you, and they're going to say, yeah, when you ask, how is the interest calculated? Okay, because there's many different ways that they calculate interest. It's, you know, the main ways is simple and amortized, but there are some changes that can occur, like especially with the simple interest. So they'll say something like this. You'll be like, is it simple interest? They'll say, yeah, it's simple interest compounded. And that might scare you at first. You're like, whoa, wait, simple interest compounded. They're gonna say, yeah, it's, you know, it's the interest rate compounded monthly, right? That is a trick. That is a trick right there, okay? Because simple interest, okay, in a way can seem like it is compounded. For example, if you have a $10,000 debt on a credit card at 25% interest rate, and you're only paying the minimum payment, then yes, it will be compounded. You're literally going to be paying like double interest. You're going to be paying interest on the minimum payment, right? Which is, you know, on $10,000 on 25% interest. Oh my God, like all of that minimum payment is going towards interest. And then on the back end, you're getting charged interest on the whole amount as well. Okay, so that can really hinder people from getting that line of credit. I want you to get that, because when we're doing velocity banking, we're not paying the minimum payment. We're not making extra payments, okay? We're doing chunks each and every month. We are flipping the money. We're velocitizing the money over and over and over again, okay? So for this example here, we have a gentleman, here's the income, expenses, 3,100, doesn't have a lot of debts, 50K, and here's his cash flow. He's got good cash flow of $1,600. And he has a checking line of credit with Navy Federal, a checking line of credit for $5,000 at 10% interest rate. Now in my mind, talking to this guy, I'm like, yeah, this is perfect. Boom, let's go. So I went over to the board, I started throwing the numbers on. I'm like, look, the first debt that we're gonna tackle, he has a Navy Federal credit card that he owes $18,288 on. The monthly payment's $232. Okay? So I'm like, look, this is a small line of credit. You have high cash flow. Your income matches the line of credit itself. So I don't mind pulling out the whole 5K to do our first chunk. Okay? So January makes the 5K chunk, right? Boom. So he strips 5K out of the checking line of credit, which then goes into his what? His checking account here, okay? Which then what? Pays the actual debt, okay? Lowers the balance, satisfies the monthly payment for the month of January, pushes out the due date till next month before he even has a payment. And before that happens, what are we going to do? You dump that income into the line of credit, right? Take expenses out to pay bills, continue to live. Keep the cash flow in. So how long would it take me, conservatively, just going off cash flow, to zero this out? Or to at least bring it close to where I can do another 5K chunk. If you do the math, it would bring us out to March, where we can make another 5K. Okay, and then a couple months out, June, make another 5K chunk, right? In between these months are the velocity banking months, where we're putting our income in, taking expenses out, keeping cash flow in, okay? Come August, this balance, 18,000, would be paid off. So from January to August, 8 to 9 months at max, we would wipe this out of 18,000. Not bad for just getting started with velocity banking, right? Not bad at all, okay? Here's the problem. He sent me a text. He was like, Denzel, the Navy Federal says that I cannot pull the money out to pay a debt. Matter of fact, I can only use this money if I overdraft on my checking account. So I'm like, dang it. So that is no longer a good line of credit. You see why it's so important to make sure you've got the right line of credit? You want to make sure that when you use the words, is this revolving? Meaning, can I take the money out at any time? Can I use this money to pay for anything? Anything. Because once I take it out of the line of credit, once I take the money out of the line of credit and it goes into my checking account, I should have the ability to do whatever I want with that money, to pay whoever I want, okay? If I don't have that ability, therefore that is not a good line of credit. So I'm going to turn it to you guys, and I'm going to ask you, what would you do? You've got all this debt. You've got a high DTI. We don't want to risk, or do you? Do you want to risk trying to get another line of credit? Or do you see a different way that we could do velocity banking? I'm going to turn it over to you guys. I'm going to ask you, what would you do if you were in this situation where you're like, I'm not able to use this. What's going on? All right. So let's see. Thanks, Mr. Ortega, for the happy birthday. EA, yes, my website did launch. I'll go ahead and have it in the description here. I'm going to just type it out real quick, and you guys can check that out. Website did launch. Got a new service on there. I'm also selling shirts. You guys can check that out as well if you want to get a shirt. I know a lot of people were asking. For all my certain tier 3 clients that were in like the month of December, and then others that have contributed for quite some time, I'm going to be sending you guys a gift. So keep an eye out for your mail. Check your mail. It's going to be a gift from Denzel coming your way. So who needs a 5K line of credit for overdraft protection? LOL, that's nuts. Mind you, he thought that was going to be his line of credit to do velocity banking with. He thought that was going to be his tool. So that's why he got it. Okay. Lynn says, I had Navy Federal and I'm able to use it to pay off debt. Okay, Lynn, is it a checking line of credit or is it a unsecured line of credit? Is it a personal line of credit? Because I know Navy Federal offers personal lines of credit, and I think the max is like 15,000 that they do. Okay, brother Ken says get a HELOC. He doesn't have a home. We don't have a home debt. We don't have a home debt. So that's not an option. Russell says credit card. Okay. Ally says use a credit card if he has one. Video Techie says use a credit card. I like your answers. I'd like your answers. Leah says I'd get the right line of credit. I feel you. But unfortunately, we did not do that. Okay. So yeah, a lot of people are saying credit card. That is the route that I would go. And then my goal would be to then use the credit card itself from Navy Federal. Use the credit card itself and I will get the same results to pay this off. Same timeline. Maybe like a month or two off, but I'll get the same results and I'll show you how in a minute. Okay? So I just want to answer some questions here. William says, how do you pay $18,000 if it's $5K in January, $5K in March, not February, but March, and then $5K in June? That equals $15,000. The debt is $18,000. My answer to him is in between, we're paying the $232. So you got to factor that in, right? So February, I'm paying $232. Then March, I do my chunk. April, May, I pay $232. June, do my chunk, right? July, I pay $232. And then August right here is the remainder balance. I chunk the remainder balance right there. And I'm done. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. All right. Let's see. It's a checking and max is 15K. Oh, so you have, all right, Lynn says she has a 15,000 checking line of credit with Navy Federal. I don't know. I'm going off what this gentleman told me. That Navy Federal said that he called, he tried to pull the money out, and they said, no, it's only used for overdraft protection. Maybe he signed something that you didn't sign. Maybe he got an offer that you didn't get. I'm telling you, these banks play games, man. They play games. That's why you got to make sure you read that whole thing and make sure that it's designed properly. So, going back to the question is, well, what do you do? All right, well, with Navy Federal Credit Union, what we're going to do is we're going to use the credit card itself to do velocity banking with. How do we do that? Here's what I tell everyone that I talk to on the phone that we do velocity banking with. Okay? Draw a cross. Get a sheet of paper and draw a cross. Okay, right now. And your job, while you're listening to this example, is you're going to look at your numbers, okay? For all the people that are not working with me yet, they're just, you know, you're a new subscriber, you're brand new to velocity banking, you've been watching my channel, you're like, I don't know about this guy, you know, I'm still learning. All right, here, I'm about to give it all to you. This is what I do. I just give it all. I don't hold back nothing, all right? So look, if you're going to do velocity banking with a credit card, you got to get your numbers in line, right? The four major numbers: income, expense, debt, cash flow. Okay, once you get those numbers in line, here's what you do. You draw the cross and you write on one side, you write cash bills. Okay? And then on the other side, you write credit bills. Or you can write bills that can be paid with credit. All right, and you're going to say, all right, I can pay the phone bill, the food, the gas, the miscellaneous, maybe the internet, maybe the electricity, maybe the water bill, okay, maybe the car insurance, okay, and then over here, you're like, all right, the car payment has to stay in cash. That has to be paid with a debit not a credit, but a debit. Okay, the mortgage, right? The rent. Okay, does that make sense? You got to separate it. Okay, so for this gentleman right here, we determined together that the bills that can be paid with credit plus the 232 plus his cash flow, added those three numbers together, and we came to a conclusion that $2,784 is his chunk per month on the credit card. Chunk per month on the credit card. Next question I get usually is, well, hey Denzel, well, what if I get paid weekly, bi-weekly? I get a lot of questions. I know a lot of you guys have asked me to do videos on, how to do that. How do you factor it in bi-weekly? Hey, I already did a video. It's called Velocity Banking Schedule. So look for that, okay? Where I break down the schedule of a person that gets paid bi-weekly as to when I would chunk, okay? So if that's you, where you don't get paid monthly, but you get paid bi-weekly or weekly, then you would just take the number that you have for your bills, your expenses, and divide it by 4 if you get paid weekly. Bi-weekly divide by 2, right? Or however it works for you, all right? As long as you get in that amount into the credit card each and every month, it's going to bring the balance down. So let's do some math. Okay? Let's do some math here. If I'm putting in to the credit card $2,784 and the original debt is $18,288, divide the 2. 6.56 months. Okay? It would take 6.5 months to pay off the original debt of $18,288. Okay? In the process of those 6 months, you are drastically cutting off interest from accruing, which is going to help you on the back end. Okay? Now, after the 6th month of doing velocity banking with a credit card, you are still gonna have to use it to do what? You have to still use it to pay your bills, okay? So what's gonna happen is it might take another maybe 2 months, 2 or 3 months, right around August, right? Total of eight months, okay? Where the credit card, it'll be obsolete. You won't need to use it anymore, because when you see, you'll have this indication. The indication is when you're literally just using the credit card to pay bills, and then towards the end of the month, you pay yourself back. When you see that you're only putting back what you used, that's an indication, my friend, after the 6th month, you've paid off the credit. It's done. Okay? The following month, all you're doing is just using the credit card to pay your bills with. Okay? And then you're using your income to pay yourself back. And you're going to notice, you're going to see your cash flow in your checking account, and you're going to see the credit card paid off. And you'll be like, okay, that's an indication to now move on to the next debt. Okay? So I hope that makes sense. Let's answer some questions. Got a lot of questions here. All right, let's see. By the way, I know you guys can't see it, but I got me like a little table now where it's like, look at this. I got a little table, a little high table. I feel like a professor, Professor Rodriguez. Velocity Banking 101. Get your life together. I have a PhD in getting your finances in order. Okay? Hello, John Cox. I have the same line of credit. I used my bank card and made a chunk payment, paid off Home Depot, no problemo. Hey, it works for you, man. I don't know. Sometimes these banks play games. Okay, Lynn says, I can't transfer from my Navy Fed checking line of credit, but I can make ACH payments from my checking, and that's how I access. Okay, so you gotta like go through a couple of hurdles there. Okay. I thought too it was a good debt weapon until now. Cash flow makes sense. Can I chunk now if I'm within $300 of a balance on line of credit? Tag how much is the line of credit? Okay. Is it like a big line of credit? Because that's usually what I do for myself. Is technically I never really pay off my line of credit. Because as soon as I start to approach zero, right? Mind you, I've got all this room. I got all this space. So I personally have a $10,000 personal line of credit, right? I make a chunk. I start to pay myself back. Brings the balance right up to zero. Before I even get to zero, I'm already taking money out again and chunking at something. That's why I go so much faster than every other strategy. The debt snowball and debt avalanche. The reason why we go much faster than them is because we don't have to wait for more cash flow. We can continue to use the bank's money first to throw it at those high interest amortized debts, wiping those out. And in the process, our cash flow is increasing every single month, month after month, month after month. Okay? So yeah, let's see, pay down debt with cash flow, apply for right line of credit in 3 months. Yeah, you could have done that, but I would prefer to just use the credit card, man. I'm gonna go a lot faster than you. Plus, I'm not gonna lose my cash flow in the process. All right, legendary mix. I would use credit card until I get a proper line of credit. Yeah. Cool. Now I have a checking line of credit. If with Navy, you have to ask for checks for your checking line of credit. Okay, I'll relay that information to them because maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's a simple little extra obstacle that we have to go through, which is we have to write a convenience check from the checking line of credit to the checking account, or we're actually paying the bill, the Navy Federal, from the checking line of credit itself. Okay, maybe that would work. GW, okay, cash flow pro. I have my line of credit as my overdraft account, free transfer, so I can run with close to zero and checking, no worries. Maybe he can just write a check for 5K. Yeah. Margaret, could you take line of credit for overdraft and pay mortgage from checking using line of credit to cover overdraft that mortgage pay creates? Okay, I'm going to ask that one more time, Margaret. Be a little more clear on that question there. I think you're on to something. Doesn't own a home. Why don't you just run the checking into the red and don't use the whole amount? Loretta, I don't understand that. I don't want to use my cash, guys. I never want to use my own cash to pay off a debt, because I'm going to be like everyone else, that by the time I actually get debt free, I'm going to have no money. And then what's going to happen? You're going to have to borrow money again, right? To do certain things or make a purchase or whatever the case may be. Always be thinking leverage. How can I leverage money? Okay? Different economy that we live in right now. I would imagine there are fees for using overdraft. Yes, there are. That's why I don't want to overdraft. Because then I got to pay that stupid fee. Cashflow Pro says, don't think so. Yeah, I'm not too educated on overdraft protection. I've never like signed up for it, but I'm assuming that it's there to avoid the fee, but then if you don't actually pay it, then you do get a fee, right? Oregon? All right, Lynn says, tell him, read his paperwork he signed with Navy Fed when he applied for checking line of credit. It has instructions on how to access the checking line of credit. I'm going to relay that to him as well. I thought Navy Fed was playing games with him because, look, he's got a Navy Federal credit card and a Navy Federal checking account and a Navy Federal checking line of credit. So I feel like they were onto him. They were like, nah, man, we can't let him do that. That's what I thought. But it could be just a simple tweak. Either way, whether we go the checking line of credit route or the using the credit card itself, we would get the same results. The whole point is knowing exactly what you want to do, knowing exactly which debt weapon you want to use, okay? And then being very clear on that tool, knowing exactly how it's going to best work for you for that temporary period of time, because we don't want to stay here at the checking line of credit. We don't want to just stay there because I know those have max, which I think is 15,000. Eventually you want to get up. You want to just keep building up, get to the 30, the 40, the 50, and then, you know, get a property and then start using HELOCs and then start using life insurance policies. Like you want to really always be improving. Okay, Tony Love says, if your bills are 2,784, you're not paying off the debt in 6 months. Tony Love. Say it one more time. The 2,784 is a combination of the expenses that I can pay with credit plus my 1,600 cash flow plus my 232. Okay? So you take the 16 to 232, okay, minus it from the 2784, what do you get? That's what the actual expenses are per month. But what we have to understand is if I'm putting in that amount each and every month, would you agree that in 6 months this would get wiped out? The original debt would get paid off. Therefore, the interest gets wiped out. Therefore, I don't pay any interest. Therefore, when I use the money to pay my bills in that same month, what else is also happening in the same month that we're paying bills? What else is also happening? I'm getting another paycheck of my income. I'm getting paid again. Does that make sense, Mr. Tony? Okay, that I gotta make sure that sinks in, because if you miss that, man, we got problems. We got problems. I do velocity banking on a day-to-day basis. So do I. Okay, for some people, velocity banking works on a every 4, every 5 days, you know, where they take out a chunk to pay for bills for the first like 4 days and then they put the money back in. There's a lot of different ways that you can do it. When I'm working with people one-on-one, that's what I'm trying to figure out, is getting that routine, right? And then remember that live stream that I did on how to maximize on the credit cards. What else can he do with this? He can push all of his expenses that can be paid with a credit card. He can push them to the what? After the what? The closing date. Okay? He can push the bills, right? He can call up the phone bill, call up the electricity, the cable, the internet, except for food and gas because that's weekly. But all those monthly bills and subscriptions, right? If his closing date for Navy Fed is, let's just say the 15th, is the closing date. The due date, let's just say, is the 12th. Okay? So on the 12th, he owes 232. But we don't have to worry about that 232, right? Because we already put the money in. We already put the money in. If not all of it, some of it, or most of it, we already put the money in. Okay? His bills, if he pushes them out to the 16th and after, what happens is he's able to buy himself more time to get more cash, more money into that credit card account to bring the balance down. And what he also does is avoid the big interest, right? He avoids that big interest cost because he's only going to get charged interest on whatever his what is. Statement balance. The statement balance. That's where we pay interest at. So his statement balance would be this 18,000. But if I put in this 27 the first month, goes all the way down to 16 under. So now I'm only paying interest on 16,000. So it's going to be less than the 18. And then each and every month, what ends up happening is it keeps going lower and lower. And if we got this set up real nice, we're buying ourselves an extra 30 days. If we do it just right, right? Because if I can get the 2784 all in before the due date, right? Get it in all before the due date, at least. And then I don't actually use the credit card till after the closing date. And we're in January, okay? We're in January, right? And I get that closing date, and then I actually start to use it. Guess what? He's gonna owe 16,000, like 15,000 or less in February. Meanwhile, we're using a couple $100 to pay our bills in that same month. That's not gonna get shown on the report. It's gonna get shown on March, okay? But see, by the time we get to March, what's gonna happen? Another 2784 is gonna go in February, okay? And then another 2784 is gonna go in March. So by the time we get there, that's when we start to see that immediate results where you're like, oh, this thing works. You know, this kid's not too crazy. You know, this stuff works, man. Just gotta do the math. Okay. What happens if I have 10K debt on 15K card? Is it silly to get an installment loan to do a big chunk? Yes, that's silly. Letty Martinez. Very, very silly. Do not get a loan. Stop. 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 Don't get loans. Thank you, Jason. Letty Martinez. No loans. No loans. Better with a line. Okay? There's another segment that I want to go over on this lesson today, which is Velocity Banking in 2019, which is the name of this title here. Okay, Velocity Banking in 2019. I feel like there's going to be some changes, okay, especially with when we're applying for new lines of credit, and that has to do with this ultra FICO score that's coming out. Okay, and we're going to go into that a little bit. But okay, JR Tilly, what questions should I ask bank when looking for a line of credit? I did a video on how to get a personal line of credit. Please watch that. I also did a video on how to pay off debt with a HELOC, and then I go over the questions to ask on getting a HELOC. Okay? Please watch that. Let's see. So true. I tried debt snowball using XX Cash over 10 years. I could never catch up. I feel you. Letty Martin done an increased line of credit, move the high interest installment to my credit card and improve utilization, then improve credit. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, what you're thinking is you're thinking the Peter to pay Paul method. Oh, let me just shift this debt over to here, and then I pay less interest, and then I pay the monthly payment, and then I pay it down, I pay it off. No. No. Nowhere here am I borrowing from Peter to pay Paul. Right? Because technically, I'm using the same exact tool to pay it down and to pay myself back and to do it again over and over again. If I was borrowing from Peter to pay Paul, right? Because technically, if this was working, right, which I'm sure it can, just has to work a certain way, this 10% interest rate is simple interest. Over here on the Navy Fed, I believe the interest rate is like I know it's more than 10 for him. I think it was like 15 or 18% or something like that. So what Letty might think is, oh, let me just take the 5 from here and pay it here, and then shift the debt and just start paying the minimums on that, and then paying. No, we can't do that. You got to be able to pay both debts at the same time to then keep going, okay? Stay away from loans. There you go, camera talk. Tell her. Stay away. If I get the tier 2 and pay in full, what's next for me? Brother Ken, when? Are you talking about my service, tier 2? If you paid in full, what do you mean? It's $47. It's not much to pay in full. Max for Navy Fed checking line of credit is 15K. That's what I have, yeah. Tony Love, okay, gotcha. Yeah, Tony Love, thank you for, getting that right. I know the numbers can seem a little confusing. You just ask for the line of credit and not overdraft protection. Simple. Calculate daily simple interest, no overdraft fees from Navy Fed. Cool. Tag says, waiting for video on carrot bars. Need more info. Okay. Sure, that'll be I'll create a video on that. I did a video called Money Principles. Okay, it's called Money Principles. Watch that. Where I talk a little bit about, buying gold, and kind of going through that. It's just kind of like, it's just one of those things that I do. I'm not out here trying to sell gold. I'm just letting you guys know what I do with my personal finances as a 23-year-old. Okay? You ever say, oh, if I knew what I knew then, my God, would I be put in a better position? Okay, well, I'm you thinking that way. So if you copy me at your age, we should get somewhere together. We should really move forward. Okay? Okay, do you start beginning month, or can you start any day of the month to begin velocity banking? Taisha Evans. Hello, Miss Evans. Say hi to your husband for me. Okay, Jason, before you say you can start at any time, remember, it's based off the 4 numbers, number 1. Number 2, it's also based on how much line of credit we have, and it's also based off the actual tool. Is it a credit card? Is it HELOC? Is it a personal line of credit? Once we get the foundations, the fundamentals in line, what I'm looking at is how she gets paid each and every month. Because what I want to try and do is I want to make the chunk, right? I want to make my chunk either the same day that I get paid, so that I can do this. This is my line of credit. This is my debt over here that I want to pay off. And here is my checking account that I want, that my income comes into. Okay? So checking account, debt, line of credit. What I want to try and do each and every time I make a chunk, whether it's every 4 months, every 6 months, every 7.5 weeks, however it works for you, I want to be able to take this money, make the chunk, get paid, boom, put the money in here, pay nothing in interest, right? Then, throughout the month, I want to be able to strip the money out little by little, right? Day by day, week by week, to pay bills. All my money's in there already. All my cash flow is already in there, right? Just taking bills out to live. This is done, by the way. This just got wiped out. So what happens? The cash flow, boom, gets redirected here. So throughout those 30 days, what happens? We're either getting paid weekly or bi-weekly, okay? And as we're getting paid, what are we doing? Money comes in, boom. The money that you just took out for bills, it's getting supplied right back. It's being paid right, immediately. What happens, I end up paying like nothing in interest. And that creates this velocity effect, which allows me to make a chunk faster, quicker, more effectively. I keep paying more debts faster and faster. I get to where I want to get to. I get to the real meat and potatoes, which is building wealth and leaving a legacy behind. Okay, once we get out of this whole debt issue here, then we can really start having conversations, right? I'm working with maybe 10 to 20 families that are at that level or almost there, where we're paying off debts, but we're also setting up a life insurance policy. We're looking at acquiring properties. They're buying assets. Okay, we're getting ourselves in a very, very good position. Okay, that's where the real fun begins. Okay, is 6 months too soon to request checking line of credit increase, or is it a good rule of thumb? My credit score is 800 plus. Go right ahead, play with them. That's what I do. My minimum is 6 months when it comes to checking line of credit, personal line of credit. When it comes to a credit card, though, I'm a little more aggressive. It's almost like every 3 or 4 months that I request increase on my credit cards. For a HELOC, I would wait a year. I would do it every year. For personal line of credit, every maybe 6 months to a year, you can request an increase. To really answer that question, call the bank and ask them, hey, when am I due for an increase? When can I apply for an increase? And they might even tell you, they might say, oh, you have to wait 2 years before you can get an increase. Or you have to wait a year, you have to be a member with us for 2.5 years, or whatever the case may be. Okay? Okay, Video Techie says, how did you get the 2784 again? I took the cash flow number, I took the 232 monthly payment, and I took certain expenses that I can pay with credit and got the number. Okay? That's what you do for you. Okay? Fajito, we don't do loans, we only do revolving. What are you, new here? Yeah, man, tell him. Okay, Manny, if we join, are you on Eastern time? Just curious as to where in the U.S. you are in your hours of communication with members, enjoying all your videos. Yes, I am in South Florida, Eastern time. Okay, I didn't know if it was for 6 months or monthly. Oh, okay, yeah, brother Ken. My Patreon page is month to month, no commitment. That gives me the ability to work with households one-on-one at all different income levels. So if I'm talking to someone that has very, very little cash flow, then I try to get them, I'm like, look, just sign up at tier 1 or tier 2, get it going, get your numbers in line, watch my videos, tune into a live stream. I answer a lot of questions here. And I'm literally just going to start doing live streams. I'll be like, look, class starts at 9 p.m. Be there. Don't be late. Okay? I'm also gonna, change it up. I'm gonna do like a morning class. All right, it's gonna be like going to college. All right? It's like going to college. This is what this is. All right? And I'm your teacher. I'm your professor, Dr. Rodriguez. Okay? Janelle. Hey, Janelle. So glad I found you. I admire your giving spirit. Aloha from Hawaii. Yay, Hawaii. I got a couple of family members from Hawaii there. All I ask, okay? Here's my deal. Bring me to Hawaii. 2 tickets. One for me, one for my girlfriend. Love of my life. And I'll serve you. That's it. I don't need anything else. I like to experience things. I like to eat food. All I need is a place to rest my head and 3 meals a day, and I will serve you, man. Listen, I'm transparent. It ain't about money. I don't need money. You know why? Because I trust in Christ, right? Christ right here, man. He is with me. I got him on the board. I got my little sister got me a little magnet not too long ago. It says "Keep Christ in Christmas." A little joke right there. But you know, man, that's what I'm about. Look, I'm just here to serve. Take advantage of me. Do what you got to do to get your money right. Let's get out of debt. Let's keep this thing going. Come on. Use the resources that I have. Check out my website. Go to my Patreon page. You know, get plugged into this community. A lot of people want to help. You know, Jason's helping out. Camera Talk, she's, you know, giving in comments, and Ally, LIEN, like everyone, you know, some of these people are my loyal Patreons that I've worked with already. Okay, let's see. Jason, awesome explanation as always. Gotta log off and get to work, man. Get to work, man. Let's go. Feed them kids. Tag, that is a great question because most credit card companies allow you to adjust your due date. Yes, you can adjust your due date. Sebastian, cash flow will go back into the line of credit to lower the balance of the line of credit. How would you save the cash flow? This person has $1,600 cash flow. Will they save this each month or put it all back into the line of credit? My friend, the line of credit is now your checking account. That's how I want you to think. It is now your checking account. So you never lose it because you use the bank's money first. And then you put your money in that line of credit, pay nothing in interest, so therefore all your money's in principal, okay? And it sits right there, Mr. Sebastian. Okay, let's see, cash flow stays in until you pay chunks, saving is part of your expenses. Thank you, go after the next debt. If you are late for class, you have to wash the whiteboard. I love it, I love it. Look, all these live streams are recorded on Patreon. All I ask is that you give. You can give at the tier 1, you get access to all the videos. I don't even, you know, I've done what, like 3 or 4 live streams so far. That's great for people that are at my tier 1. Okay? People that are at tier 1, you're trying to learn it, get the information, get yourself prepared to even work with me, get your cash flow up, right? That's why people are at tier 1, just trying to get their stuff in order, and I want to be here for you. That's why I'm doing these live streams for you. And then you can just catch the replay on Patreon. Just catch all the replays. Watch it over and over again, and don't stop. Get this man to Hawaii. I'm coming. I got a friend over there that's doing real estate investing, so, you know, it's going to go down. I'm going to start traveling real soon. I'm going to start leaving this room, and I'm going to start floating around. Like, all right, let's go. Let's do some work together. All right. Salam says, hi, Denzel. I'm a second semester college student with student debt, but I don't know how to pay it off. Is there anything I can be doing now, or I'll have to wait until I'm done with college? All right, so you're debt-free. Technically, you're debt-free right now. You don't have the debt till you actually graduate. So what you can do is what my girlfriend is doing right now, which is building credit, okay? She's building credit using her expenses. She keeps her cash flow. What she's doing is she's using her cash flow to start her tax-free bank using life insurance, okay? She gets that going, right? Her cash flow is like 500 a month, so that's 6,000 a year. She's putting in 6,000 into this tax-free bank. Money that will never be taxed again. The money's going to grow at a guaranteed interest rate no matter what. She automatically starts her legacy, which is her death benefit. Anything goes down, anything happens to her, boom, she's set for life. Family's set for life, okay? In the meantime, as she's going to school and she's studying, becoming a practitioner in law, right? She's getting a degree in criminal justice, and then she's going to go to law school, okay? So in that process, there's probably like a 5-year process to actually get to the career that she wants. So just imagine this: she saves 6,000 a year for 5 years. 6 times 5 is what? I don't know, 30K, with interest earnings, guaranteed interest earnings every single year, tax-free. Okay, I don't have to worry about extra fees and cost of funding an IRA or Roth. Okay, and the other advantage there is I'm able to pull this money and use it to pay the student loans, to pay the college debt right off, do velocity banking on the life insurance policy itself. Okay, so that is what I recommend for college students that are working part-time, or you're working full-time, you're a college full-time, you're just doing everything full-time. Okay, if that's you, listen, you got to get real smart with your money at this young age that you're at. Listen, date one girl, date one guy, okay? Keep it at that, man. Stay loyal. Ain't no point in trying to flop around. In that case, just stay single. Stay single. Learn about you. Get your money in line. Okay? No female wants to be with a broke man. It's not fun. Okay? Not fun. It hurts our ego. Okay? So if you're a man, you gotta get your money right, man. You're young. Get your finances in order. Okay? Acquire your kingdom authority. Start learning about my friend Jesus, man. He'll get you right. Start watching this channel day in and day out. This is your second university. Okay? Cut out all distractions. You don't need any distraction, man. Everyone is fighting for your attention. You need to focus on getting your you-know-what in line. Okay? Getting your money right. Putting your money in guaranteed locations. Don't put your money in hope and prayers. Oh, I'm going to hope and pray that Apple stock performs. No sense in doing that. Unless you are a practitioner in trading stocks, Forex, options, futures, crypto. If that's your thing, then go right ahead into it. But if that is not your thing, if you want to be a lawyer, if you want to be a doctor, an engineer, an architect, why the heck are you trying to learn the market when you can just put your money in guaranteed locations? Why not do what the banks do? Okay? The banks put their money in insurance, banking, and real estate. Done. Insurance is life insurance. Banking is velocity banking. Real estate is land. Get it together, folks. Stop listening to the noise. No sense in listening to noise. I don't know why we listen to noise. That's why, when it comes to your spiritual side, you see a lot of people get confused in their own spirit and who they are. They don't even know who they are because they get it all messed up, man, because you're listening to the noise. All right, how much money in the line of credit to debt do you like to have? $100,000, $20,000 line of credit, $200,000, $40,000. Thanks. Okay, so you're basically asking, how much for Jason Bradford. You're basically asking, how much space do you like to have in the line of credit, or how much debt is like the max on the line of credit itself. Okay, so if I have $100,000 line of credit, the most that I'm ever going to use on it in any given chunk if we're talking one specific chunk towards a specific debt, right? I don't want to use more than 2/3. I want to keep it like 66% or lower. Now, if you have a little bitty line of credit here, I could care less if you use the whole thing or half of it, especially if you've got really good cash flow of $1,600. This guy could flip the money like every 2 months almost, you know? All right. Listen, we're going to go a few more minutes. I want to keep answering some questions here. This picture really is showing the process of how you get your money right, of how you get this system in line. Okay, that was the one thing I didn't go over, was the picture itself, which is we all have a checking account, okay? We all need to acquire, or we already have, our line of credit that we're going to use, right? Our tool that we're going to use, okay? Whatever that amount is. Your job is to link the two. What does it mean to link? It's a simple logging into the mobile app, making a phone call saying, hey, I want to link the two. That's it. Then the system is the income comes into the checking account before you pay bills, right? What do? We withdraw money. We do our chunk. The chunk goes to the checking account, right? The chunk goes to the checking account from the line of credit, which then what? Pays bills, right? And then what happens? The income goes into the line of credit, right? We dump the income in. After we dump the income in, expenses come out. You withdraw money again to pay bills. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. This is your system. After an individual is debt-free, you can continue to use this system to do what? To acquire assets that produce income, that pay you back, and you pay back the tool, the line of credit, and you keep going. Okay? Is that clear? So that's like the last part. That's what I wanted to cover, which was, what do you do when the line of credit doesn't work for you too well? Well, there's always alternative options. That's what's nice about velocity banking. Is basically what I was trying to get at is velocity banking is flexible. You got to make sure you got a system that works for you. Okay, we can always create the system, get an accountability partner helping you out, getting you in the right mode of thinking. And then to really cover velocity banking in 2019, I wanted to just cover the Ultra FICO score again. I was doing a little more research on it. There's not a whole lot of content on it, but there are some channels that talk about it. And basically, the new Ultra FICO score is going to be looking at your cash accounts, the checking accounts. They're going to be looking at, does this guy overdraft? Do they have non-sufficient fund fees? How do they manage their money? Okay, do they always go to zero? Are they paycheck to paycheck? Apparently, this new Ultra FICO score is supposed to attract new what? Borrowers. Okay, that is the primary goal. Is they want to attract new borrowers. Why? Well, over the past, decade, we've been doing this steadily. We've been growing after 08, right? We've been pretty much growing. Some more than others, right? And what has happened is everyone that is a prime borrower, right, that is credit worthy, has already refinanced, bought a home, bought cars. Pretty much everyone has bought what they wanted, which is why I have most of my examples. You see $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, $1 million of debt, because everyone pretty much bought what they needed. Now they're just trying to pay it off. Okay? Well, banks and major corporations need to continue to do what? Velocity banking. They need to continue to flip the money over and over again. Okay? If they don't, they start to shrink, they start to delay, right, in their growth. So what do? They come after subprime lenders. They come after the 600 credit scores, the 700 and under type people. And they say, hey, Miss Jones. Hey, Susan. Hey, Joe. Listen, we got this new ultra FICO score. I know you applied for that loan and you got denied, but we would like to resubmit your application using the ultra FICO score, using the new ultra FICO score. And we'll review your accounts and see if you're pre-approved. Now, without a doubt in my mind, they're going to start throwing money at people with these big loans with somewhat of a low interest rate that's going to be attractive, right, to people. People are going to get them. They're not going to know about velocity banking. Not you guys, right? I'm telling you this to avoid, right? So Miss Martinez, do not get a freaking loan, please. And everyone else that is new to this channel, do not get a loan, okay? You're going to fall into that little trap there, okay? Because after they hit you with the big loan, after they get you to buy the home, buy a house, right, and fall into a mortgage and finance your car and do all this stuff, they're going to hit you up in like 2 years and they're going to get you to refinance. The whole system keeps going. Now, worst case scenario is if the banks do this, if they start dishing out loans to everybody and their mama, okay? Worst case scenario, everyone defaults on the loans, people start to foreclose, boom, 2008 starts to happen all over again. The best case scenario is that people actually manage their debts, they pay their debts, the banks keep giving money to 90% of the population via amortized loans, and a very small percentage of people like us stay out of the system. So it's my goal to get as many people out of the system as possible. Okay? That's the last thing that I want to talk about, and I'm going to dive into some Q&A for the last 15 minutes. I'm going to go till about 10:15 and we'll cut it. Okay? If I missed any question, you know where to find me. Go on my website, go on my Patreon page. Let's talk. Let's have a consultation together. Let's get your money right. Okay? Let's get your money in order. Laura says, who is your friend that does real estate? A lot of my tier 3 people are in real estate. So you just, let me know what state you're in and, make some connections there. Okay? Okay, when is this guy debt-free on the example behind you? 50K. I have it. My goal for him is 1.5 years. Actually, that's my goal. 1.5 years, 2 years at max to wipe out 50,000 of debt. Right? After he wipes out the first 18,000, my goal was to get him a much larger personal line of credit to like really start swinging, making like $10,000 chunks every 6 months, every 7 months, and we're done. And I think his goal was he wants to get a property, he wants to get a home. Craig Calloway, my wife and I are tier 1. We started in October with first 10K chunk. We are only starting month 4 and already made second chunk. Nice. This method is amazing. Thank you. Thank you. That is awesome. I like that testimony right there. Hey, I'd love for you to visit my Facebook page. I got a little Facebook page, and I want everyone to visit my Facebook page. It's called Velocity Banking. Okay? And write a review of the channel. If you're one of my tier 3, tier 2, if we had a conversation together, if I put your numbers on the board before, I would be grateful if you did a testimony, and I'll even put that on the website that I just dropped recently. And y'all can check that out as well. Sebastian, have you thought about a hybrid system? Example, velocity banking and the snowball example. Using the line of credit to clear a debt of $6K, reducing expenses by $350, then use the $350 towards another debt. Or focus on velocity banking in one debt at a time. In some cases, technically, velocity banking is debt snowball, right? But it's like 2.0. It's better. Velocity banking is debt snowball on steroids, okay? Let that sink in. What you're talking about can work, but it's a case-by-case scenario. Watch my videos. You'll see how sometimes my chunk is big enough where I can wipe out maybe 2, 3, 4 debts at a time, increase expenses decrease expenses by a big amount, which would increase my cash flow. All right, I qualify for student loan forgiveness after working for a nonprofit. I'm trying to figure out if it would be better to pay it off and not wait the required amount of time. Hey, Javier, if you have other debts, I would tackle the other debts first, because if you pay off this student loan forgiveness thing, does your cash flow go up? No, right? Cash flow is not going to go up if you pay the student loan right now. So I think it's more wise to pay off another debt that you're actually paying towards to increase your cash flow. Okay. See, I'm moving soon, but I have $75 in retirement fund. Moving to Florida and will look for a new job. My credit is bad, but I just started a small business. Should I wait till my credit gets better? I'm 52. What's the question, my friend? Oh, to ask for a line of credit. Yeah. If we have bad credit, then we gotta go to ground zero. You start with a secure credit card, right? You start using the credit card to pay expenses, pay yourself back, start building credit. All right, not much to it. Albert, how you doing, Albert? Sorry for missing our call tonight. We will reschedule again. I have HELOC, 19,000, 14,000 mortgage plus 2 car notes. Which one I chunk first? Cash flow 600. Wednesday, we're gonna handle that. I'm not even worried about your credit card. I want to use that HELOC to do velocity banking with, and I think I might have to go after that car note, but I'll check it out. We'll see. King Jeremy, Denzel, I want to support. When and where can we get the merchandise? Cool is in session. Yeah, man. Look, I'm putting the website up again. Check it out. The website is my name, Denzel Rodriguez. Check it out. Check it out. Okay, I just put it in there. Will there be a replay? Yes, the replay will be on Patreon. Okay. Do any participate know who offers lines of credit? Margaret, I have a video called How to Pay Off $73,000 of debt in 15 months. In the comments, literally the whole community put their credit union, the line of credit, the interest rate, the state that they're in. You could literally go through all of them and see which one would work for you. All right. Hope that helps. Yes, Russell, cash flow is key, man. Can you elaborate on Ultra FICO score? Yeah, I think I just did, so hopefully that helped. Bank of America right now is doing promotional HELOC, 5.24% rate for a year if you get applications in by 3/31. Okay, but make sure that the HELOC meets my requirements. Okay, make sure it meets my requirements. HELOCs, man, that with these big banks, they might have fees and closing fees, and you know, you have to withdraw this amount in the beginning. If you pay it back within 3 years, then you get charged. Like, oh, ridiculous. You don't have to worry about that with the credit unions, man. Okay, I'm in real estate. I can find you a house whenever you want. Hey, man, I'm not getting a house, I promise you. A house is not an investment to me right now. I'm going to be a little bit, I'm going to be a mobile. I'm going to be a nomad because I'm going to be traveling. All right, ain't no point. Once girlfriend graduates law school, I told her, I'm like, look, we're going to get a simple condo or apartment, do velocity banking on that thing, wipe it out in 2 years or less, combining our life insurance policies. Right? So she's going to have a life insurance policy. I'm going to have a life insurance policy. She's going to have cash flow on top of that life insurance policy. So am I. We're going to combine our lines of credit to do what? Acquire that apartment, 1-1. That's all we really need, right? Pay the thing off in 2 years or less. Get that cash flow redirected back to us. Instead of making rent payments to the landlord, we could be making rent payments to our life insurance policy. Ooh, and never lose our money. And there'll be equity in that apartment right there. And then when we feel like moving, we'll Airbnb that thing. Because a couple years from now, Airbnb is going to blow up. You know, if Airbnb didn't blow up already, it's going to blow up even more. It's going to put a lot of hotels out of business. And that's my move right there. I literally only need to rent Airbnb for half of the month to cover the rent, to cover the expenses or whatever. And I can own that thing for as long as I want, or rent it out, or do Airbnb. And then on to the next property. Right? All right, it's 10:17. I'm gonna go a couple more minutes, man. I like hanging out with y'all. I like hanging out. All right. Hoping to get more people out of the system. Also, once I'm more educated, practicing what I intend to preach. You're a blessed young man. Thank you, Tiara. You are, I believe, a very new contributor. By the way, I have a testimony. Which is that when you trust in Christ, He will provide. Wow. Can I give you a little testimony? I went on vacation from January 3rd to the 5th, okay? And then I was also like pretty much that weekend, I was at rest. And can I tell you that in that 72-hour time period that I was on vacation, I had more people sign up and give to this channel than ever before. And I wasn't even producing content. When you trust in Christ, when you believe that He is your source, right? That He will not allow you to fail. He will produce more than what you could ever produce on your own, okay? And to affirm that, I want to shout out all the people that signed up. And watch, hear this out, ready? Philip, Ahmed, Robert, Colleen, Mr. Rivera, Mrs. Bronner, Mr. Powers. Those were all tier 3 people that joined within that time. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 9, 10 people joined tier 3. They actually maxed out my tier 3. I was like, whoa. Okay. Then tier 2, get this. Mr. Lee, Mrs. Teresa, Mr. Matthew, Raphael, Holly, Jorge Castro, Sandra, Miss G, Mr. Bradford, Mr. Daniel, Miss Janine, Lorena, Enrique, Robert, right? A lot of people renewed, like they paid again for the new month. They didn't cancel, or I just got a bunch of new people. And then I had like 10 or 15 people join tier 1. And then I had a gentleman by the name Mr. Frey household, contributed at my tier 4 level, which I just made, $497 or more. I can't wait to work with this guy. I can't wait. That is my testimony, okay? I'm going to reiterate this as we close out, that it is not about the money at the end of the day. You have to trust in Christ, okay? You have to get the system in your head, cut out the static, like Mr. Flores says. Cut out the static, all right? And we get the results that we want to get. And when you give, you shall receive. When you give, you receive tenfold. Prior to my vacation, boy, was I giving like crazy, because I was putting God to the test. I was putting God's reputation on the line from my life. I said, hey, I'm a child of God, Lord. I trust you. I'm shouting to the rooftops that you are the one. You are my Savior. So in doing that, I'm going to give to all these people on YouTube, okay? And whether they give to me or not, I'm trusting that you, Lord, will provide for my needs. And you know what he did? While I was resting, this is incredible, while I was resting, the Lord put it on everybody's heart to give to this channel, to give to my family, to give to myself, to grow and improve myself and be able to reach more people like I'm doing right now. How awesome is that? Okay, so I want to just close it there. Listen, I love you all. Thank you for tuning in and sticking around for over an hour. I know that can be difficult, you know, for a lot of people. You guys are busy, people are working, right? Listen, I'm going to keep doing more and more and more live streams. I'm not stopping. I'm not stopping until the Lord calls me elsewhere. I'm going to keep going, all right? So thank you so much for tuning in. If I missed your question, visit me on Patreon, comment, sign up. Let's do